Hello, my name is Rick.
Ciao, my name is Millie.
And this is episode 26
Ventisay.
of season 2
Do where?
of
Yonks Ago.
Ago. This is Yonks Ago coming into your ears. Now what are yonks? They're kinda like years. Just a father and a daughter who want to know all about some people from Yonks Ago. Interesting people who did interesting stuff, but about whom we don't know enough. So we're gonna dig deep and find it all out. Yonky Doodlers know what we're all about. Yonks Ago. Hey ho. Hey Yonks Ago. Hey ho. Hey. Surely.
A happy new year, everybody. 2020, am I right?
Yes, I mean, we're recording this
Bro.
still 2019.
We're in the past.
Yeah.
Like, Chuck us, bro.
Yeah.
I won't be hearing this podcast until next year.
This podcast is time traveling.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. But we're recording 2019, very last day, very last chance. It's a sunny afternoon. And we, throwback,
What?
we're back in the garage.
Are we back in the garage?
Where it all began.
No.
Long-time Yonky Doodlers will
We'll
know.
Jigs. Last of the year, come on.
When we first, when we first started this Yonks Ago
back
journey.
Well, I was trash. Back when I was trash.
We were podcast bebes.
Yeah. No, you weren't.
Oh,
You had experience on your resume.
Bloody veteran. Bloody veteran. Multi-podcast veteran. But you were a bebe.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I was.
And our combination was a bebe in the woods.
Yeah.
We were fledglings, just here for a chat.
Yeah.
Here if you need.
If you need.
It started, we used to come all the way out to our friend's house in Mulgrave.
Yeah.
In their garage.
Yeah.
And that's where we recorded a good deal of the first season.
Yeah.
The whole first?
The whole of it.
I can't remember when we
I reckon,
moved to the kitchen.
I reckon it was the whole of it.
Yeah.
Straight up. Yeah, it was. I remember recording the last episode in here.
Absolutely. So all of season 1 was recorded in this garage in Mulgrave, but then we got...
Throwback, if you haven't listened to season 1, go listen to season 1. It's a bit of a banger.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of throwbacks...
I mean, if you don't know anything about Ned Kelly, which you probably do know at least one thing, but if you want to know more than at least one thing...
Yeah.
How can you get more than at least?
I don't know. But if you know only facts about Ned Kelly as well, perhaps you want to know some stuff that's not technically factual.
But probably is.
But adds to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, like who's to say?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's to say?
Like, you can't know that that's not the truth.
No. No one can tell us what's what.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that all happened in this garage, and then we got high tech.
Oh, bro.
We got our hands on some secondhand equipment.
Yeah, man.
And we set the kitchen up ready to go.
You know, didn't even have to drive that far.
Yeah.
We didn't even have to get in the car.
No.
Just a quick stroll to the kitchen from the living room.
I just have to wander into the living room and say,
Literally.
Hey, Milster,
Literally.
are you ready to podcast?
Get amongst it.
But now, look, it's the final day of the year, and we've come out here for an end-of-year celebration.
Yeah.
We thought, while we're here, I mean, we may as well.
Just bang out an episode.
I mean, it's like the good old days.
Yeah, throwback.
So we must have started this podcast in 2019
Oh,
because
for
I
sure.
feel like this is the first New Year's we've been through.
Yeah.
But this will be, I mean, after...
It was early in the year, but
this episode comes out in 2020.
yeah.
And so that will make this podcast multi-yearal.
Multi-decadal.
Yeah, multi-decadal.
Yeah.
We're spanning the eons.
Bro, this podcast will be alive for more than one decade.
One day this podcast will be, we will be people from Yonks Ago. You and I.
Yo.
We'll be
It
Yonks.
could be like, remember that podcast from last decade?
Yeah. Yonks Ago. Yonks Ago. And then someone can do a podcast about our podcast. They can.
Oh. Be like, this old as freaking what's the word for
retro? No.
The dinosaurs?
Prehistoric?
Yeah, I thought
you are nearly there, man.
Yeah. That prehistoric podcast that was last decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah, that didn't really come out the way I wanted to.
But hello, anyone in the future who's listening to this as some sort of throwback, some sort of retro, listening to old people talk about old people.
Wait, no. For our listeners who live in America, for example, this will still come out in 2019 for them.
Oh, true.
So for our New Zealand and Australian listeners.
Yeah. New Zealand and Australian Yonky Doodlers, shout out to 2020.
Yeah.
All of our American Yonky Doodlers.
It's according to my watch, it's still 2019.
Well, any of the American Yonky Doodlers who listen to it as soon as it gets released.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of them would listen to it eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a couple of days later.
They'll be like, bro, this is 2023.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So basically, we've caused a lot of confusion
Yeah.
and we apologise.
Yeah.
But Happy New Year to anyone who it's relevant to.
Yeah.
And anyone it's not, suck it up.
Yeah.
All right? It's coming.
Yeah.
Or it's been.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Time's irrelevant when you're a podcaster. Why do we keep clinging to
Don't-
old
no.
notions of time when
No,
we're
no.
podcasting? People can listen to this whenever.
Exactly.
We're not the boss of you.
No.
But look, we left the last episode of Nancy Wake's journey
How do
on
we
a
leave it?
bit of a cliffhanger.
What?
She had gotten all her
true.
plans in place to spring Garrow out of jail. Her
Yeah.
old friend, almost like a brother,
Yeah.
was Ian Garrow to her. Almost like a brother. I'm reframing
yeah.
the narrative
Okay,
to try to get you on board, Garrow.
Yeah.
Like big brother Ian Garrow, someone she trusts as a brother,
Yeah.
has been caught in jail, sent to the concentration camp.
Yeah.
Is looking like he's on death's door.
Yeah, literally.
Essentially,
Not looking that great.
yeah, they're not feeding him. They're
No.
not looking after him. Garrow is not long for this
Like
earth.
if you turn to the side,
Yep.
you wouldn't see him.
So she's set herself up as a cousin,
Yeah.
Garrow's cousin, which makes sense because they're like brother and
they're like
sister
brother
anyway.
and sister anyway. Yeah,
so
exactly.
cousins makes sense.
Exactly.
And so she started visiting him she's moved into the area.
On the daily.
She is visiting regularly, trying to suss out which of the guards might be bribable because she
Yeah.
heard a rumor.
Yeah.
Someone in this organization is definitely bribable.
Because his name is literally Mr. Bribe.
Yeah. Dr. Bribe. Hair Bribe.
Yeah.
That was it. Hair Bribe.
Yeah.
And so she hung out there, letting everyone know that she's pretty well off and is
Yeah.
willing to do whatever it takes to get her cousin out of
And
jail.
she's rich.
Yeah, super
Bro.
rich in fiction and in reality.
Literally.
Like her cover story will hold water because
Yeah,
she
man.
can get a hold of sweet Henri funds.
Also can lie.
Yeah,
And
loves a lie.
does not get anxious at all.
No.
Does not get nervous. Do you think she gets nervous?
You're bloody dreaming.
She's never heard of that.
If Nancy Wake is nervous in front of you, it's because she's pretending to be
Yeah.
nervous for some reason. Like
Yeah.
that, it's her lie.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's trying to achieve
So
something by
be
pretending
sus.
to be nervous because
Yeah.
she ain't nervous, bro.
No, she doesn't get nervous.
It's not in her nature.
No.
It's not in her DNA.
Yeah.
Forget
exactly.
about it. And so and then she gets a secret message dropped at her feet.
Yeah.
A cyclist cycles by, drops a note wrapped in a stone, says, "Meet me at the bridge if you want to get your cousin out of jail."
So she's like, well,
She turns up at the bridge. No one shows.
what? No one's there.
Stood up on the bridge, but we suspect someone was just checking her out.
Someone was just like sus. Someone
how-
was, sussing her out.
Yeah, getting a sense of her. And then, sure enough, a couple
Yeah.
of weeks later, she's at a bar.
Yeah.
She senses a presence, as you do.
As you do. Yeah, literally.
And it's Hair Bribe.
Up, turns around. Look who it is.
Yeah, and they get talking subtly, just feeling
Yeah,
each other out
just a
in a
sus.
conversational sense. Like,
Yeah.
you wanting to bribe me? Yeah, I'm
No.
wanting to bribe you. Will you
Do-
get? Do you want your cousin out? Yes, I want my cousin out.
Do you have lots of money?
And they work out. Yeah, all Hair Bribe wants is
Yeah.
a bribe, a massive bribe.
Yeah.
Well, what he thinks is a massive bribe, but to someone with access to Henri's money, not that bad.
No. I mean,
and
did
she
you hear
has
that
to.
Henri does business?
Yeah, she has to organise a uniform. That's the
Yeah.
transfer money to this guy. Get this Hair Bribe some cash.
Yep.
And organise a uniform from the prison, like a guard's uniform.
Make it really small though, because Ian Garrow,
Yeah, skinny.
unfortunately, yeah.
He's real skinty.
yeah.
And so that's the deal. And Hair Bribe says, if you give me the money and the uniform, I will get your cousin into the uniform and he can march out as if he's just a guard who works here.
But what's happened?
And then just as they were about to activate it, something happened. And that was where we ended the episode.
What's
Cliff
happened?
Bloody hanger.
Bro, we were hanging all the way off that cliff.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Yes, we shall.
So,
That's the end of the podcast. Sorry.
yeah, no time. My recap took too long.
Yeah.
At first light of dawn on the 8th of November, 1942,
Ooh.
just as she was about to activate Get Garrow plan,
Oh, bro, she was chilling.
110,000 Allied troops, that's who we're affectionately referring to as the good guys.
Yeah.
The
For
Allied
sure.
troops, they hit the beaches of French North Africa under the banner, it was called Operation Torch.
Yeah.
And they established a beachhead and were pushing ever eastward against the German forces.
Wow.
The operation was a stunning success from the first, and following reports on the BBC, Nancy thrilled to every new breakthrough.
There you go.
So just as she's about to get Garrow out, there's a huge British, almost like a counter-strike
Yeah.
in on the African shores, in French territory. And this is good news for Nancy, but she's also like, it causes a fracas.
Yeah.
Because everything was kind of in its rhythms.
Yeah.
And as a result, of this strike by the Allied troops.
What's happened?
Well, the Germans, who were clearly shocked by this, they sent massive amounts of forces through the imaginary line that separated occupied France and Free France, and
did they use the prisoners?
No, they basically just took over the whole country. Like they said, even though they were just pretending that Free France was free.
Yeah, okay.
There wasn't much of a soldier presence. Yeah. You know, it was all on the slide. There was just a vibe of, hey, we've conquered you.
Yeah.
But because of this, they sent heaps of troops.
Bro.
Suddenly there is Nazi troops everywhere, and basically all of France is now occupied.
Yeah, man.
They're not even pretending about Free France no more.
Bro, free what? What does that mean?
Yes. And so the occupation of this was bewilderingly swift. Nancy said it was like one day they weren't there, then all of a sudden, kazowie, Nazis everywhere.
Oh, no.
And so everyone's like, oh, yeah, they're spewing.
Yeah.
Absolutely spewing. And so now the Vichy government is just clearly just puppets now. They're not even pretending that they're doing anything at all. And as a result, with the Germans now thoroughly occupying France, the resistance started to feel like they could expect a lot more help from the citizens because no one could even pretend now. So everyone's like, yeah, we'll help if we can, which was good. But even more dangerous than the Germans themselves for the resistance at this time and for all the French people were sort of something was called the milice, the wretched milice, which was kind of an informal and homegrown occupying army. So the Germans had gotten a whole bunch of French people to be part of like an army to keep other French people under control.
Got it.
Like a bunch of ruffians, like low lifes, basically,
true.
thugs.
Yeah.
And they were often worse than the Germans. So the French people being mean to French people was where the real trouble
Cannibalism.
was. And yeah, exactly. And when this full occupation happened, they wanted to boost the numbers. So they rounded up as many lowlifes as they could. And then when they didn't quite have enough people to fill this sort of homegrown army, they went and they got prisoners.
Yeah.
People who were in jail. Yeah. Basically, they said, well, look, you can stay in the jail if you like. Or, I mean, I know you're in here for murder. You've killed a lot of your fellow French people. You can stay in jail. Or would you like to come and be a soldier in the milice? It's a fun times. We give you some soda pop. And all the people in jail are like, that sounds sweet.
Yeah, bro.
And so they got lots of like hardened criminals, like bad guys, to flesh out this homegrown army, which in many ways it was the biggest threat to the resistance.
Yeah.
These because they also knew all the secret French ways.
Oh, true.
So very, very dangerous. But also, so there's more and more Germans arriving in town, more and more Nazis.
Yeah.
And their biggest problem, because the resistance at this stage, their main that Nancy's working with, their main thing is getting people out.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily trying to
fight back.
Yeah, they're not trying to fight. They're just trying to work in the shadows and ferry as many people out of France as they can through the O'Leary line. So Nancy, so then they're thwarting the Germans, but they're not necessarily causing them any damage in a physical sense. Or
they're just scraping some off the top rather than digging in.
You're right.
And scooping up.
Exactly right. And in Marseille, the biggest danger to the Germans was actually, again, the port area where all the hotbed of criminals were. Yeah. So it was all like, criminal gangs and everything that operated in that area pre-occupied France and all of that. And they found that a lot of German officers went missing whenever they went there. Like people would go on patrol there, never come back.
That's awesome.
Anytime, even when the homegrown army, I can't remember the milice. The milice, when the milice went in there, they'd get stabbed. They'd get
bro.
They were saying even like you'd be walking upstairs and someone would send a cupboard down the stairs to squash you. Like there was just all these things going on in this whole. And the Germans eventually were like, no one can go into this suburb. It's basically like a death suburb.
Yeah.
And so what they did, they said, enough's enough. You can only push the Nazis so far, but they say, enough is enough. That's it. Full stop. And so one morning they surrounded the entire suburb, the entire port area, and they went house to house and they flushed everyone out. They either arrested them, told them to get nicked, or killed them.
Yeah.
And then they set the whole suburb on fire.
Nice.
They burnt that place to the ground.
Couldn't do that in Australia.
No, they said, you want to cause trouble? Oh, suck on this. And that whole area was no more.
Yeah.
Burnt to the bloody ground.
Bro, doesn't exist.
Yeah. And now there's like 20,000 French people out of homes, like displaced.
Yeah.
So it's all getting pretty hectic in Marseille. And around this stage as well, Nancy's like, I've got to get back onto old mate Garrow, big brother. He's like a brother to me.
Yeah.
We have a very sensible platonic.
Yeah. Oh my God, he reminds me of Stanley.
Yeah. She's like, I've got to get him out. Now we're running out of time.
Yeah.
I've gotten distracted. But the fact that the Germans had come down threw their plans into disarray a little bit, because now the uniform, sorry, that was the word I'm looking for. The uniform that they'd organised, they got the uniform to hair bribe.
Yeah.
And everything was ready to go. But because the Germans came down and officially occupied that area, all new uniforms.
Oh, no.
There was a changing of who was in charge of that prison.
Yeah.
Whole different uniforms now. The uniform that they organised, useless.
Oh, that's so dog.
So they had to get to work on a whole new bloody uniform for skinny little Garrow.
Yeah. His proportions are all off, bro.
Yeah. It's like a beanpole. And so they get to work on that. Henri...
He's just doing business.
Just funding it. Henri's happy with Henri's blessing.
Yeah.
Nancy continued her weekly visits to Garrow in the concentration camp. All right, so this, but the whole uniform thing just meant a delay in the plans, not a cancellation.
Got it.
All right, just stick a pin in it.
Yeah.
So O'Leary himself took charge of fabricating a new uniform. Big guns. O'Leary got the
sewing machine.
Got the sewing machine out.
The sewing machine.
He's like, I've got this. I don't know what's O'Leary. He was
he was Irish.
Yeah.
I got this.
I've got this. I got this sewing machine here. Let me do it. I'll do it for him.
Yeah, but because Garrow's gonna get angry. Why is it called the O'Leary line? He's be like, bro,
I made a uniform for you.
I literally made you a uniform. You seriously.
I get to call it the O'Leary line. You get to wear me nice uniform that I made you and got you out of prison. You're welcome. So he gets to work on the uniform, gets the sewing machine out.
Yes.
The guard with whom Nancy had made contact, hair bribe, kept his word and managed to sneak the uniform into the prison at a spot where Garrow could get to it.
There you go.
And then the upshot of this was that on the evening of the 8th of December 1942,
here comes
the newly clothed Garrow managed to attach himself to the end of the guard detail that was marching out of prison. This is some Wizard of Oz stuff.
That is some I was going to say that.
And Lord of the Rings.
I was literally going to say that.
It's exactly that.
No, that's so sick. Except they didn't go on the end. Lord of the Rings, they went in the middle.
Oh, they went in the middle. But Wizard of Oz, they totally
went on the
so
end.
Garrow just Wizard of Oz'd it out of the...
He Wizard of Oz, bro.
And so, so...
How did they not notice a literal child walking out of the prison?
Well, so apparently he's he got on the edge, he got on the end, marched out of the prison after the changing shift, and as he was walking past the checkpoint at the exact moment when they passed a key checkpoint, he blew his nose with a very large handkerchief to sort of cover his face. So as he's walking, as they're checking everyone, he's like, achoo!
And
blows like a big thing. And they're like, oh, that poor German soldier that we can't quite see is definitely allergic to France. And he got out
to baguette, surely.
So he got through the checkpoint. And he was breathing free air for the first time in a year.
Oh, my God.
A little further away, one of O'Leary's men was waiting with a car, and over the next few days, Garrow had the supreme pleasure of being passed from hand to hand over the same escape line that he had personally set up.
There you go.
Until he reached a safe house on the outskirts of Toulouse.
Nice.
Where he stayed for over a month.
There you go.
Because Nancy says they had to fatten him up a bit.
Yeah.
So that he'd have the strength to get over the Pyrenees.
He was a skinny legend.
Yeah, you can't go climbing mountains when you got no fat on your bones.
Literally.
You're dreaming.
You'll freeze.
You'll freeze and starve and get real puffed.
Exactly.
You get super puffed.
Bro, you get so puffed.
Mate, I've got a stitch. Oh, God, can we have another rest? He's like, should have fattened you up before we left.
Exactly.
So they learnt that lesson already. Because this is not their first skinty prisoner that they've tried to get through the line.
Literally not.
And so 3 weeks after he arrived, when a lot of the mad searching for him had died down. Just a lot of Germans going out, "Excuse me, Mr. Garrow. Is Mr. Garrow around? We're looking for Garrow, Ian Garrow."
He sounds really, like, athletic, though.
Yeah.
Bro.
He's very skinny.
Oh, is he the single one?
Yeah, that's Garrow. Oh, yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
And so the look for him's died down. Nancy visited him in the safe house, and the two were able to spend a wonderful afternoon together, like brother and sister, just talking
What does it say
about.
in the book, though?
Yep, that's it. A wonderful afternoon together, just talking as a brother and sister would.
Okay.
She says it was marvelous to see him, and he was extremely grateful for everything we've been able to do to get him out. And Nancy was very proud of their accomplishment and was delighted that a week later he safely made his way across the Pyrenees.
There you go.
They got Garrow out.
Yeah.
Mate, she set her mind to it.
Like, I'm underwhelmed because I have no attachment to Garrow
I know
at
you don't,
all.
but they got it. They did get him out.
Well, clap.
Golf clap.
Yeah.
But then after that, the early
Yeah.
months of 1943 was a blur of activity because with all of this, there's the war's heating up, obviously.
I forgot about the war. The war, bro.
Yeah, the Allied people have strike back, and so now there's
war.
there's war going on, and there's more and more action, and there's heaps of people they need to shuffle along the line.
Yeah, man.
Heaps.
Bro.
It is going absolutely crazy. But also now there's a lot more. They're not in Free France. They're not in Free France anymore.
Free France doesn't exist.
They're just basically they're in occupied France now, and that makes everything a lot harder. But also their operation has had to grow and grow because there's more and more people to shuffle.
Yeah.
And so the O'Leary line has had to increase in number. So what had begun as an intimate collection of about 30 people had now grown into an enormous organisation with 250 people throughout France.
There you go.
Which is good from a business sense. I mean, Henri would be like, we are growing at a rapid rate. This is very good for business.
Check my graph. Look at this.
I made a pie chart.
Yeah.
But Nancy points out this meant that even O'Leary was suddenly obliged to rely on people that he didn't actually know very well, making it all the more easy for a traitor or a Nazi operative to penetrate the network and betray us. Just as Cole had done one time. Cole.
Jinx.
You know what? We missed out on a chance. This whole time, Paul Cole, we were calling him Dirty Dog. I never referred to him as Dirty Cole. You know how it's probably over your head, but Dirty Cole would have been the perfect nickname for.
Woo!
Yeah, you wouldn't have been impressed, but someone out there in a Yonkie.
I'm sorry, Dad.
At least one Yonkie
I'm sorry
doodler.
that I don't understand your jokes.
At least one Yonkie doodler out there would have gone, hey, good one.
Yeah.
Dirty Cole. Nailed it.
Ha 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 ha.
But I just referred to him as Dirty Dog has a Cole, like an idiot. All the ingredients were there for me to amuse myself.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you didn't do that, Dad.
I've let myself down, and I've let at least one Yonkie Doodler down. And for that, I apologise. What a way to end 2019 as an utter failure.
And the Americans are like, but we haven't ended it yet. What are you talking about?
Well, almost. We've almost ended it. Okay. Wait. Okay, and I found my spot. And now the problem with all of this increased activity for Nancy was that with all her own increased activity, it became progressively more difficult for her to maintain this facade of her being just, Nancy, Fancy Nancy Fiocca, who was dedicated to nothing else but frippery. In fact, by this time, she found out that the Germans were, if not aware of her specifically, not aware of specifically her activities, they were at least aware of a woman's activities whose description she fitted, and they even had a code name for her, the White Mouse, she heard, because of her amazing ability to disappear just when they thought they had her cornered.
There you go.
Nancy admits she got a bit of a big head. She thought, awesome, I've got myself a code name in Berlin.
Yeah,
I'm the bloody White Mouse. Nancy Wake, White Mouse in it. She's looking around going, you got a nickname? You got a code name?
Oh, no.
Hitler talking about you in the back room?
Well, O'Leary's like, I'm Virgo O'Leary.
And Humbergo O'Leary.
Yeah.
Paul Cole rides by on a I'm Dirty Cole. And everyone's like, that is a great nickname.
Shut up, Cole, you dirty dog.
You dirty dog. It's like, it's Dirty Cole. It's funny. Oh, don't worry about it.
Should have shot you in the head when we had the chance.
Lesson well learned. Shoot Dirty Cole when you get a chance.
Literally.
There's no room in this world anymore for Dirty Cole.
No.
Hey, I'm making a statement. And so she's got a name, White Mouse.
Yeah,
She's loving it. She's making badges. She's like getting some merch together. She's got tote bags. She's got T-shirts. She's pretty happy with herself.
Yeah.
So she's got herself a nickname. She's stoked. And I think, look, for the end of 2019, I think that's all the time we've got.
That's pretty sick as. I swear, didn't we talk about White Mouse like before we did this? And it was like, I feel like I've heard that name before.
I probably did. I think I knew her name was White Mouse.
Yeah.
The White Mouse.
That's cool.
But now she's official. Now she knows she's the White Mouse.
Yeah.
She finally found out.
Bro, we knew before she knew, and she was alive before us. That doesn't make any
Time
sense
travel
in my mind.
And it's the perfect kind of nickname, code name, because she didn't give it to herself.
Oh, exactly.
That
True.
You don't want to have to come up with your own nickname.
No, that's dumb.
It's got to be bestowed upon you by Hitler himself.
Who came up with your nicknames, Dad?
I don't got none. Go on. Give me one now.
Rick-splosive.
Oh, well, there's a difference between nicknames and like
Downtown Brown.
Online usernames.
No, that's a nickname. Ricky?
Oh, well, that's clearly, it's just my name,
Rick?
really.
You chose Rick.
Well, I mean, sure. It's not really a nickname, though, is it?
You just be like, no.
I mean, variations on your own name
I'm right.
aren't necessarily nicknames, are they? You want something that's detached from your actual name.
Okay.
Like the White Mouse.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You are... No,
you can't fake it. You can't force a nickname. You can't sit around and brainstorm a nickname.
No.
It just has to happen.
No.
And when it happens, you feel it, and everyone goes, yes.
Yeah.
That's my name.
What would my nickname be, Dad?
What about parachute pants?
I would never like skydive though.
Yeah, or wear parachute pants. That's why it's so good.
Yeah, true. Because no one would guess it was me.
It's like, what?
Like, oh, it can't be Nancy.
No.
She likes to party.
Yeah.
What?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Look, so maybe that's our quest for 2020.
Yeah.
Is to somehow organically earn a nickname.
Exactly.
Yonky Doodlers, if you're out there and you're nicknameless, I don't know how it's kind of like it's like a magic eye puzzle. If you try to see it, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
You've just got to allow it to somehow come into focus, your nickname.
Yeah.
And then it will be, and
Yeah.
you'll be stuck with it forever. And you're welcome.
Yeah.
So thanks, Yonky Doodlers. I hope you've had a pleasant 2019. I know we have. We've learned about Ned Kelly.
Yeah, and wait, can I say something? If Dad did an Irish accent in this podcast, if you liked it, go back to season 1. Because, bro, there's tons of Irish accents in that one.
Where the Irish accents were so relevant.
Bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Yeah, the only one who's got an Irish accent in this one is O'Leary.
Brilliant.
And O'Leary's just his fake name that he took on because he's a
Exactly.
Belgian doctor.
Exactly.
I'm not doing a Belgian accent, not for O'Leary. That's ridiculous.
No.
If you take on the name, you take on the accent.
Exactly.
That's the O'Leary way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's how he earned himself a whole escape line
Yeah.
that he stole from old mate Garrow.
Oh, did he though?
Was like a brother. He was like a brother
He was like a brother.
to Nancy Wake.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's all the time. That is all the time. I could keep
there's
talking until
no more time.
it's 2020.
It's literally 2020 right now. We've run out of time.
We blew it.
Oh, dang it.
Anyway, I regret all my life choices,
Yeah.
but I also embrace them.
Okay.
That's my my
that
two-step
your
plan. Regret, embrace.
Ah.
Regret,
Yeah.
embrace. It's just a constant
Yeah.
process of regret and embrace. And that is your recipe for success. And also your recipe for soup.
Cool.
But please join us. You're looking at me to end the episode because that's what I normally do. And I've forgotten how to, clearly. But I'm going to remember, if not now, then I will surely remember how to do it in some other episode of
Yonks Ago!
Happy New Year!
Yes.
It's a pretty good fireworks display for free. You're welcome.
Do you have to pay for it?
True.
Yeah.